الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وآله وصحبه أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters, my dear children, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today inshallah I'm going to talk about the importance of giving thanks to Allah for His blessings. We must show gratitude to Allah for all His favors and bounties. We must be grateful. So let me talk firstly about the word ni'mah in the Quran. Ni'mah, a blessing, a favor, a bounty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Starting from Surah Al-Fatiha, the first chapter in the Quran. If this is something we read every day, and many of us know this surah by heart. So let me read verses 6 and 7 from Surah Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. So in here we are told that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has favored certain people by guiding them to the right path. Let me read the translation. Show us the straight way. Show us the right path. The way of those on whom you have bestowed your grace. Those whose portion is not wrath and who go not astray. In another translation, the path of those you have blessed. Those who incur no anger and who have not gone astray. The path of those whom you have favored, not the path of those who earn your anger, nor of those who go astray. So here we are hearing the word an'amta. The root is na'ma, and it refers to a blessing from Allah. So Allah has chosen certain people and guided them to His straight path. Let me read footnote 22. If we translate by the English word guide, we shall have to say guide us to and in the straight way. For we may be wandering aimlessly, and the first step is to find the way. And the second need is to keep in the way. Our own wisdom may fail in either case. The straight way is often the narrow way or the steep way, which many people shun. By the world's perversity and the straight way is sometimes stigmatized and the crooked way praised. The wrong becomes the norm. How are we to judge? We must ask for Allah's guidance. With a little spiritual insight, we shall see which are the people who walk in the light of Allah's grace. Those who've been blessed by Allah, those who have received the favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and which are those that walk in the darkness of wrath. This also would help our judgment. So that was the word ni'mah mentioned in Surah Al-Fatiha. And we have to be so grateful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have guided us to this. In Surah Ibrahim chapter 14, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that He has given us from everything we asked Him for. And the verse is 34. وآتاكم من كل ما سألتموه. He gave you of all that you ask for. وإن تعدوا نعمة الله لا تحصوها. But if you try to count the favors of Allah on you, you will never be able to number them. إن الإنسان لظلوم كفار. Verily or surely, man is given up to injustice and ingratitude. Let me read the footnote 1910 in the translation of Abdullah Yusuf Ali. Sincere and true prayer in faith is answered by Allah. Thus, He gives us everything which a wise and benevolent providence can give, or providence can give. So, everything, Allah is reminding us here, وَآتَاكُم مِّن كُلِّ مَا سَأَلْتُمُوهُ. Everything we asked Allah for, He gave it to us. Sometimes people say, oh, I've been praying and He is not responding to my prayer. I asked for this, but He didn't give it to me. Maybe by preventing something evil from happening to you, which you are not aware of, is a response to your prayer. Maybe on the day of judgment, you get the response. And then you would wish if all your prayers were deferred to be accepted or to be granted on the day of judgment rather in this life. In Surah An-Nahl, chapter 16, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهُ. Exactly the same. 18, chapter 16, the bees. وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَغَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. This is a different ending from the previous ending. Here, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَغَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. If you would count up the favors of Allah, the blessings of Allah, the bounties of Allah, never would you be able to number them. No way. For Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. Footnote 2042. Of all Allah's favors, innumerable, His mercy and forgiveness in the spiritual plane is the greatest and of eternal value to us in our future lives. So it is a ni'mah, it is a blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ghafoor Rahim. He is oft forgiving, most merciful. He would forgive and forget and overlook, and He would bestow or shower us with His mercy and the blessings. And in the same surah, Surah An-Nahl, chapter 16, verses 53 and 54. وَمَا بِكُم مِّن نِعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. And you have no good thing but is from Allah. Every good thing we have is from Allah. Whether you believe in this or not. Allah is telling us, every ni'mah, every blessing you have is from Allah. It's not because of your intelligence or contacts or experience. No, every ni'mah is from Allah. ثم إذا مسكم الضر فإليه تجأرون. When, and you see, and moreover, when you are touched by distress, unto Him you cry with groans. You turn to Him, asking for Him to relieve the stress. But unfortunately, what does Allah say in the next verse? ثم إذا كشف الضر عنكم. But unfortunately, when He removes the distress from you, إذا فريق منكم بربهم يشركون. Behold, some of you turn to other gods. Some of you turn to other gods to join with their Lord. So they would associate partners with their Lord. So let me read the English translation again. And you have no good thing but is from Allah. Every blessing you have is from Allah. And moreover, when you are touched by distress, unto him you cry with groans. Yet when he removes the distress from you, behold, some of you turn to other gods to join with their Lord. And the footnote 2079, which shows that the natural tendency of man is to seek Allah, the only power which can truly relieve distress. In Surah Luqman, chapter 31, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in verse 20, ألم تروا, haven't you seen? أن الله سخر لكم ما في السماوات وما في الأرض, that Allah has made all things in the heavens and on the earth dedicated for your service. Sakhara, the word sakhara has subjected to your use, had made them dedicated to serve you. وَأَسْبَغَ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعَمَهُ ظَاهِرَةً وَبَاطِنًا. So there are two types of ni'mah, two types of blessings, two types of favors. Favors which you can judge, you can see, you can feel, and favors which you don't. And this is the batina. You cannot see it. It is hidden. So, and he has made his bounties flow to you in exceeding measure. Asbagha. When I wear a robe which is so big and covers me from the head to the toe, we call it sabigh. Sabigh means something which is so covering all my body. وَأَسْبَغَ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعَمَهُ ظَاهِرَةً وَبَاطِنًا. And he has made his bounties flow to you in exceeding measure, both seen and unseen. How come? How do we know this? There are certain ni'am. Maybe you were going to a meeting, and unfortunately there was a lot of traffic, and you missed the meeting, and you feel very, very upset. But if you would have tried to get there and there was no traffic, you might have had a major accident and lost your life or killed someone. So we don't know. If the feeling of being satisfied and content because of the blessings of Allah would actually make you feel or make you achieve inner peace. ومن الناس من يجادل في الله بغير علم ولا هدى ولا كتاب منير. Yet there are among the people those who dispute about Allah without knowledge and without guidance and without a book to enlighten them. This verse 20, chapter 31, Luqman, very important to understand the meaning of a ni'mah which is seen and you can feel it, and a ni'mah, a blessing which you cannot see. For example, in Surah Al-Kahf, the cave, we are told the story of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam when he met the learned man and traveled with him, and the three incidents or the three things which the wise man did based on information from Allah to him, guidance, wahy from Allah to him. One of them, for example, when they arrived into a village and they sought the help of the people to feed them, and the people were so bad and unkind. And they found a wall which was about to collapse. And the wise man managed to restore it so it will not collapse. And when Musa was given the interpretation of the story, he was told that this village where the people are so nasty, there is a treasure under this wall. And the treasure belongs to 2 orphans in the city, and their ancestors or their parents and the grandparents used to be very, very righteous. So Allah wanted these 2 orphans to grow up and reach the age of maturity to come back to the village to restore their treasure. This is a hidden blessing from these 2 orphans sleeping in the city. They didn't know about it, but this was a ni'mah which was batina. Nobody knew about it. Nobody told them. And again, in the story, when the wise man killed the little boy, and the parents, of course, they were very upset. But Allah replaced him with someone better. The parents didn't know that this boy, if he would have grown up, he would have become a tyrant, a source of trouble for the parents, the righteous parents again. Again, it's ni'mah batina, unseen. The parents didn't know about it. And the owners of the ship, which the wise man, the learned man, made a hole in it, and Musa was very upset about that, but Musa later was told the reason the man made the hole in the boat because the boat belongs to very poor fishermen operating in the sea, and there was a king which was capturing every boat by force. So the learned man wanted that when the king or the king's men would come to inspect the boat, they find a hole in it, then they will leave it, and then it can be repaired later. These are ni'am batina. We don't know about it. We don't know. But here, وَأَسْبَغَ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعَمَهُ ظَاهِرَةً وَبَاطِنَةً. You cannot count the blessings which you can see. And Allah is telling us this. وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. You cannot count that. So what about the ni'am, the blessing which are not seen? Footnote 3006. Allah's grace and bounties work for us at all times. Sometimes we see them, and sometimes we do not see them. In things which we can apprehend with our senses, we can see Allah's grace. But even in them, sometimes it works beyond the sphere of our knowledge. In the inner or spiritual world, sometimes when our vision is clear, we can see it working. And often we are not conscious of it. But it works all the same. In Surah next surah is Fatir. Surah Fatir, chapter 35, verse 3. يا أيها الناس, O people, O mankind, اذكروا نعمة الله عليكم. Remember the grace of Allah unto you. Call to mind the blessings and the favors of Allah unto you. هل من خالق غير الله يرزقكم من السماء والأرض? Is there a creator other than Allah to give you sustenance, to give you provisions from heavens or earth? Alhamdulillah, no. لا إله إلا هو. There is no God but Him. سبحانه وتعالى. فأنا تؤفكون. How then are you perverted? Why then you are deluded from the truth? يا أيها الناس, O people, O mankind, اذكروا نعمة الله عليكم. It is a command to reflect and remember نعمة الله. The health. And when you talk about the health, look at your body. The sight, the eyes He gave you, the nose you can smell, the eyes you can see, the mouth you can chew, the lips you can talk, the ears you can hear, the joints which are moving, the digestion of the food, the taste. Think about the ni'am. So many of them. But the greatest blessing from Allah is the guidance to the faith, is to guide us to the right way. The footnote here, 3874. As the primal cause of all things is Allah, an appeal is made to man to turn to Allah instead of running after false fancies. Allah is not only the source, but the center of all life and activity, and all affairs return to Him. The world is sustained, and human life is sustained by Allah's grace and providence. Sustenance is to be taken in Quranic language for all that helps to maintain and develop every aspect of life, physical and spiritual. It would be the height of folly then for man to ignore Allah's gracious message as explained in His revelation. In the next Surah Al-Anfal chapter 8, Surah Al-Anfal chapter 8 verse 53. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a very interesting news regarding how can we protect the blessings He has given us. In verse 53, Surah Al-Anfal chapter 8, ذلك بأن الله لم يكن مغيرا نعمة أنعمها على قوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم وأن الله سميع عليم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never remove a blessing He gave you unless and until you have abused the blessing. Then Allah takes from you. Just as simple as that. And if we want the ni'mah, the blessing, to continue and maybe to be increased, we have to say thank you. And we have to look after the ni'mah. For example, when you think about giving you a gift of money, wealth, and you started to waste it, you start to become mubaddhir, you start to become the brother of Satan. You don't pay your zakat, you don't support the needy and the poor, you don't look after the orphans, you don't look after your family, immediate family, your wife and your children, or your poor parents, or your poor brothers and sisters. Allah will take it from you. What do you expect? You abused it, He will take it, He will remove it. ذلك بأن الله لم يكن مغيرا نعمة أنعمها على قوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم وأن الله سميع عليم. Because Allah will never change the grace or the favor or the bounty which He has bestowed on a people until they change what is in their own souls. And verily Allah is He who hears and knows all things. Footnote 1221. Allah bestows His grace freely, but He never withdraws it arbitrarily. Before He changes their state and circumstances, an actual state of rebellion and contumacy has arisen in their own souls, which brings about its inevitable punishment. So, if you have abused or misused or did not pay the dues for the ni'mah which has been given to you, you will lose it. Just as simple as that. Allah will remove it, as Allah confirms in this verse. The next verse is from Surah Al-Isra, chapter 17. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in verses 83 and 84. وإذا أنعمنا على الإنسان أعرض ونأى بجانبه وإذا مسه الشر كان يئوسا كفورا. When we bestow our favors on man, he turns away and becomes remote on his side instead of coming to us. Human nature. When you ask for something and Allah would give it to you, instead of saying thank you and looking after it and be grateful and give thanks, you walk away. You forget that you never asked for it before. وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ كَانَ يَئُوسًا. And when evil sees him, he gives himself up to despair. Footnote 2283. Truth saves us from two extremes. When we are happy, we are saved from being puffed up, for we realize that everything comes from Allah. And when we suffer misfortunes, we are not in despair, for we know that Allah is our sure refuge and help. It's very interesting here, because here we talk about a mental health issue, a major mental health issue. The word ya'us. Ya'us is someone who suffers from despair. He feels he's been lost. Nothing can save him. But if he turns to Allah, Allah will save him. It's just as simple as that. In Surah, in the next Surah, actually let me read verse 84 as well in Surah Al-Isra. قل كل يعمل على شاكلته فربكم أعلم بمن هو أهدى سبيل. Say, everyone acts according to his own disposition. Just as simple as that. But your Lord knows best who it is that is best guided on the way. If the footnote 2284, if the wicked go their own ways, there is nothing to discourage us. It is their own choice. It is their nature. يعمل على شاكلته. His nature. He's like that. We must seek and hold fast to true guidance. That's what Allah is saying. فَرَبُّكُمْ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنْ هُوَ أَهْدَى. Allah knows well who is best guided on the way. Okay, now I will go to Surah Az-Zumar, chapter, Az-Zumar means the groups, chapter 39, and read few verses from it. Okay, I will read verse number 8. وَإِذَا مَسَّ الْإِنسَانَ ضُرٌّ دَعَا رَبَّهُ مُنِيبًا إِلَيْهِ. When some trouble touches man, he cries unto his Lord, turning to him in repentance. ثم إذا خوله نعمة منه نسي ما كان يدعو إليه من قبل. But when Allah bestows a favor upon him as from himself subhanahu wa ta'ala, man forgets what he cried and prayed for before. نسي ما كان يدعو إليه من قبل. And what he would do in addition to this, وَجَعَلَ لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا. And he sets up rivals unto Allah. Why? لِيُضِلَّ عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ. Thus misleading others from Allah's path. What does Allah say to him? قُلْ تَمَتَّعْ بِكُفْرِكَ قَلِيلًا إِنَّكَ مِنْ أَصْحَابِ النَّارِ. Say, enjoy your disbelief for a little while, because eventually you will be one of the companions of the hellfire. Let me read the full verse in Arabic. وَإِذَا مَسَّ الْإِنسَانَ ضُرٌّ دَعَا رَبَّهُ مُنِيبًا إِلَيْهِ ثُمَّ إِذَا خَوَّلَهُ نِعْمَةً مِّنْهُ نَسِيَ مَا كَانَ يَدْعُو إِلَيْهِ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَجَعَلَ لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا لِيُضِلَّ عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ قُلْ تَمَتَّعْ بِكُفْرِكَ قَلِيلًا إِنَّكَ مِنْ أَصْحَابِ النَّارِ. Let me read footnote 4256. Trouble and adversity often bring a man to his bearings, but if he is not firm and constant, he forgets the lessons which life is meant to teach him. As soon as he gets a little prosperity, he forgets that it is from Allah and attributes it to something which may only be a secondary cause. For example, his own efforts or the power of nature or something which he has invented and made into a god. For example, idols or fate. Allah is the ultimate cause of all things. To set up rivals to him in this way is not only wrong and degrading to the false worshipper himself, but misleads countless ignorant people who may not be able to make allowances for the figures of speech or the symbolism by which subtler minds can explain away falsehoods. I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much for listening. May Allah bless you all, and we'll continue the talk in the next episode, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.